6-1 Galacticos for Real Madrid in Sevilla, the Benito Villamarin. If you didn't hear it before, 6-1 we won. And I think maybe contrary of the idea that this FIFA breaks is damaging some of the big teams, in this case it appears to have done us a lot of good, because we saw a great Real Madrid today. I'm not afraid to say that this might be, or it might have been, the best 45 minutes as the first half that we've seen under Zidane so far. I think, Real Madrid cleaned out very quickly this idea that the intensity that we don't, maybe it's fair to say that, we're not going to change the idea that we have now a solid game plan after one game. But, if we're heading somewhere, it's in the right direction and we're walking the right path. I like the game a lot today. I think we played a very solid game. We were absolutely superior with no doubt for 45 minutes. And then the second half was a little bit different because the game was over. It was 4-0. They got that goal in maybe 10 minutes in. Yeah, exactly 10 minutes in the second half. But, thinking about a comeback would have been too much for them and for us. So the second half was a little bit more disorganized and, we saw a little bit, we saw some things that we didn't really, I don't know how to explain it. It was a very messy second half, so to speak. I think Real Madrid decided, instead of controlling the game, we were talking about this as we watched the game, is, okay, why are we not controlling the ball and maybe, putting the game to sleep? But, I think Real Madrid decided to go blow by blow, knowing that, we were going to be, or coming out as winners in that exchange of hits. So, good. Let's talk about the first half. I saw everybody really focused, really doing what they had to do. Great defense. I think Varane, again, it's just one game. I don't think it's enough to clear out all the doubts on some of the players. But today Varane had a great game. He opened the score at 3 minutes. Nice header, nice cross by Toni Kroos. And after that, everything, becomes easier and more comfortable. It changes Betis's plans. Because of course they have to come back after only 3 minutes. But then, it was not even a situation of Betis making a comeback or seeing what was going to happen in the game. After 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it was clear that Real Madrid had come out from minute one to beat Betis and to win this game and to not have any troubles, to not allow any doubts anymore. And that's the attitude I wanted. We were talking with Iñaki and with Mateo. We were asking ourselves, is it so hard? Is it that difficult to come out like this in every game? Is it that difficult? Today it wasn't, and I'm very happy. Great Pepe and great Varane. Great Marcelo. Again, maybe a little bit more in offense as usual. And, after the game is 3-0, 4-0, maybe Marcelo starts kind of lagging in defense, thinking, okay, the game is done. I feel like another, offensive midfielder, maybe even a striker in some situations. But a great game by Marcelo. We needed that edge, that clarity by Marcelo to participate in our offensive game. Again, great Carvajal. And I want to specify, or I want to stop here in the midfield. I think the midfield today was awesome. We saw one of the best versions of Toni Kroos, just, using his brains as well as his feet to administer the game, to administer the pace, to decide when we're going up, when we're going down, when we're stopping. It was beautiful. Kovacic today played a great first half for me, with that electricity that Kovacic has. Kovacic is maybe, we've said this a lot, Kovacic is not a player that maybe in the maturity department knows how to administer the pace or the rhythm of the game. But, he has that spring on his step. Every time he has the ball, he wants to go forward. And we saw that speed being used very, let's say, productively in defense as well. So Kroos and Kovacic were a great tandem today in the midfield. And Isco, we talked this week about Isco and how important this month and a half, without James, without Modric, without Casemiro, and Isco is going to see a lot of minutes. So it was very important for Isco to make it clear today that he's up for the task. And I think it was very clear that he was up for the task today. He played a great game. He was generating a lot of danger, filtering passes for Cristiano, for Bale, and Benzema. Scored 2 goals. So I think maybe it's fair to say that the best news for the game, for me, is Isco. Is the fact that Isco is there. We can count on Isco. This is going to give him a little push emotionally and, of course, footballistically to feel like, okay, I might not be in the starting 11. I might not be the guy in charge of, carrying this team offensively. But when I am, like now, I can do it and I'm there. The second goal by Isco is a work of art, beautiful. And then up top, I'm very happy. I don't think it was the best game of Cristiano and Bale. But I think we have seen the best Benzema so far in the season. Today we saw a really great Benzema. He looked more physically ready, sharp, on edge, quicker, more hungry. Scored a beautiful goal, the goal that kind of started killing the game in a great finish. And I think it's good because when Morata came in, you know, the last 2 weeks we've been talking about Morata or Benzema. Morata should take Benzema's place. But I think today, you know, the battle for the number 9 was taken to the level where we want it to be, which is we want a great Benzema, and then, you know, if he's a little tired, we want a great Morata. So it's not, you know, to see who's doing it worse, so who kind of by, you know, discarding the worst situation, who can be on the pitch. Today was, I think, the best version of both of them. We saw a great Benzema, assisting Cristiano, generating a lot of play, moving, pressuring, and then when Morata came on, we saw a great Morata, you know, doing what he knows how to do best, you know, receiving the ball with his back to the goal, moving around, spinning really quick, and generating spaces for the other strikers. We saw it in Cristiano's goal, how Morata holds the defense and the ball is great. Anyway, I think it was a great game. It was a great game. I don't want to get my hopes up like, oh yeah, you know, this is how we're going to play every game from now on and we're going to just crush everybody and win everything. But I'm very happy. You know, I'm very happy, especially because of the little mystery of the 2 weeks. Like, how are we going to see Real Madrid? What Real Madrid are we going to see after this FIFA break? And if this is the answer, we should all be very happy. I think Betis in Sevilla, of course. It's fair to say that they're not the strongest side in the league. They're probably in the wagon of the weakest teams. But, you know, they were the rival today, and we had to do what we did, and we did it, and I'm very happy. So now... let's give space to the social corner where we have Mateo. Mateo is going to be administering here the comments.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, just a lot of comments here. A ton of people are commenting. Sold out seats to hear what Vitaly has to say. Trigger Happy saying, what did Zidane do in the international break to get this? Because things definitely changed very quickly. What do you think, Vitaly?
Well, that's a good question, Trigger Happy. How are you? I know that you're going to be happy by this, but Bayern Munich drew again with Eintracht de Frankfurt with a great game by Vallejo, who was the starting lineup, played the 90 minutes, draw 2-2. I know you like that. I know you're following our canteranos, so just a little bit of that for you. I don't know what he did. You know, I wish I knew, or maybe I like having the mystery, but I think today we saw more clear that it was not a thing of intensity. It's not about the intensity, the attitude. I think what we saw today is more football in the midfield. We saw more movement, better movements, smarter movements, especially without the ball. Generating those spaces to give options to the player with the ball. And, you know, from there, with attitude and intensity, you can just crush the other teams. But I think, you know, I don't know if it's fair to say that in 2 weeks he maybe, you know, learned or implemented new tactical moves, but I think it was clear today that Real Madrid was very clear, or was clearer than before, on what to do with the ball and where to move when we don't have the ball. So we always had an open player to pass and an open space to run to, so I think that's what he did, and it seemed to have worked.
A lot of people here are also commenting on man of the match. Who was the man of the match? Was it Isco? Was it Kroos? I love Isco. I love Kroos as well. But I don't know. Maybe Isco, he has to kind of keep up this kind of performance before he can, let's say, we can consider him man of the match. Taking it away from Kroos, what do you think?
Well, we talked during the game a lot. We talked about Varane. I think Varane cleared out a lot of doubts today too. You know, especially after in the last league game being substituted after 45 minutes. It was a kind of a Zidane pointing him out. It was not nice. But Varane, you know, played a great game today, and you know he did sometimes what is the most difficult thing to do, scoring the first goal. We also talked, I mean, in my opinion, I think Isco, Kovacic, and Kroos played great today. I wouldn't give it to Kovacic because he only played 45 or 50 minutes, but I think the minutes he was on the pitch, he was transcendent. Isco or Kroos? For me, it's between Isco and Kroos. Also between Benzema, you know, because of the good surprise of thinking. I mean, until even before this game started, I was thinking, oh, Benzema, maybe we should already get rid of Benzema or whatever. But the Benzema we saw today is very, let's say, exciting. And I'm looking forward to see more of this. But, you know, I would have to give it to Isco or Kroos, man of the match. I'm probably Kroos. Probably Toni Kroos because of how consistent he is and how smart he is to move the team around, even when it doesn't look that bright or it's not, as Iñaki said a couple of days ago, that works from Kroos. But you probably would see the team sink without Toni Kroos. So I would say that Toni Kroos was man of the match today.
All right. Also, we have a pretty good question here with by Alex Ganikov. Alex Ganikov, of course. He says, Morata or Benzema, who do you prefer? I think this is a very interesting question because in the context of today, personally, I would take Benzema, this Benzema over Morata any day. I don't know, Vitaly, what do you think?
Alex Ganikov, our friend, how are you? Yeah, I think it's just like what Mateo said. Like 2 hours ago, I was very clear on Morata. Always considering the state or the shape that Benzema is in, or was until 2 hours ago. But yeah, as Mateo said, this Benzema has to be on the pitch. I think there's no doubt. If Benzema is playing like this, not only because he can score goals, which he did today, a very important goal, the second one, is the kind of goal that, okay, this game is almost done. With a 1-0, there's always risky. You run the risk of, maybe, let's say, falling asleep and thinking the job is done without it being done. And the second goal is very important. And I think this Benzema, he generates a lot. He moves very smart. He can finish. He can combine with Cristiano, with Bale. He even comes a little back to generate a little play in the midfield. He pressures up high. So I think we saw a great Benzema today. And Benzema like this, I'm happy to have him on the pitch. But the good thing to compare it with Morata is that, again, I want to see these two players taking that battle to that level where both of them are playing great. So, it's not a problem for Zidane, is though I have to play Morata because Benzema can't or is not, match fit. It's a better problem when you say like, okay, I have to play Benzema because he's playing great. And when he gets tired, I'll put Morata in that is doing great as well. So this is where we want this battle to be. But yeah, as of today, after today's game, I want to see more of this Benzema for sure.
There's also some interesting comments here talking about Varane, talking about Pepe, talking about the Sergio Ramos that we're missing. Considering today's performance of Pepe, what are your thoughts on his performance? And also, what do you think about Varane? Is he getting better? I definitely saw a much more safer, a much more confident Varane today. What do you think, Vitaly?
I agree there. I saw a much more confident Varane. And I've said this many times. When I see a Varane that is not good or confident, it's not a subject of ability or technique. I mean, he has it. I think it's a mental thing. He gets nervous, but I think this break for Varane was good because he played a great game in Amsterdam, and I think that filled him with confidence to say like, why if I can lead France's defense like this, why can't I lead Real Madrid defense like this? So we saw a great Varane scoring that goal, very serious game, and also by Pepe. Pepe again in his line of being solid, being reliable. The second half we saw both of them committing a few mistakes. But, in the context of a game being finished, it's this kind of weird moment where it's 5-1 and you have 30 minutes to go. Well, I wouldn't criticize the fact that we kind of lower our intensity because it's normal, I don't criticize that. And I don't think it's something I would have liked. We were also talking about this. I would have liked to see a clean sheet. But hey, when you win 6-1, I don't think there's anything to criticize. And I think Varane and Pepe played a very solid game. They proved to be very reliable center backs. And, when the game was over, maybe a few flops, but nothing to worry about. And again, I want to see more of the Pepe and the Varane we saw tonight.
We got an interesting one here by Trigger Happy. I think Trigger Happy. Zidane should play Mariano, but there are rumors that we might use him to get back Marcos Llorente early. Now, personally, I think that taking into account the way that our squad is structured, I think this would be a great move. And also taking into account that Marcos Llorente is playing very, very well with Alaves, it could be a good move. Vitaly, do you think there's any truth to these rumors? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, talking to Iñaki is a very in-depth expert of what happens with Alaves, and I think they're starting to have some good, let's say, institutional relations between Alaves and Real Madrid. So maybe we'll see more of our academy players going to Alaves and kind of forming themselves or growing as players. So maybe, if the growth of Llorente is this let's say, aggressive or this quick. Maybe we could see him coming back in the winter. And, Mariano going there and having Mariano for the second half of the season in Alaves and seeing if that works. So I think this is a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I personally think that Marcos Llorente is going to finish the season, is going to end the season with Alaves. I think that's good for him. And I think Mariano made a ballsy move staying, knowing, this is not a mystery. This is not coming as a surprise to him that he was not going to see many minutes. Especially if we start seeing a scoring Cristiano, a sharp Benzema, and a good Morata. I mean, I know how you feel trigger happy about the academy players, but sometimes I feel that you forget that we have non-academy players. So, play Mariano instead of who? We could have played Mariano today. But we had to play Lucas Vazquez. So we had to play Morata. So what would you have done? I don't know. But yeah, I think going back to the Alaves Real Madrid, I think that's going to be maybe, as they say in a classic movie, Casablanca, the start of a beautiful friendship. But yeah.
We also have a very cool question here by Naif Ahmed. If the tactics are right, I think we can rest Casemiro more. We didn't miss Casemiro at all today. What do you guys think? I think you're right. I think we've been talking a lot about this. We've been talking about the whole intensity thing. We've been talking about whether it's intensity or it's tactics. Is it the players or is it Zidane? I feel that you're absolutely right, Naif. Vitaly, what do you think?
I think, I also agree with that. The fact that we need Casemiro in some moments or in some specific moments of some games. But what I would like to see, and we were talking with Iñaki about this week, I would like to see a Real Madrid that has a clear idea of what we're playing as a team. And then, any player that comes in will not change that, let's say, that structure. So, it'll be easier for all the players to adjust themselves to the starting 11 because they know what we're doing. They know how we have to play when we're winning, how we have to play when we're not. So I see in that scenario where we start having a clearer idea of what kind of team we want to be, then it's true. We'll not miss Casemiro that much because in certain games, we'll see Kovacic doing things that Casemiro can do. We'll see Modric and Kroos doing things that Casemiro can do. We'll see, Isco doing things that Modric can do when he's not there. And basically, just pieces of a machine replacing themselves, but the machine works the same way. That's what I would like to see.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to start closing up here. We're going to start sending some shout-outs. Here's Vitaly coming in with the shout-outs. We have shout-out for Juan Felipe, Aguirre, Ali, Tommy, Ivy Vlogs, Tyler Simon, of course, Trigger Happy. He almost has stock in Real Galacticos already. Trigger Happy, right?
Yeah, Trigger Happy has stock. Tyler Simon, Elian Sacco, always there too. One of the
Warriors
of the Galaxy. Skeptil Warrior, Young Jae Kim, Stefan Schwarzmeier, of course, the friend Stefan Schwarzmeier. I think you came a little bit late for the questions. We're already closing up. Ibrahim Hoke, always there. MJ Diego, Ibrahim Hoke, Stefan Schwarzmeier, Naef, Ahmed. Guys, thank you very much for being there. It's always a pleasure. And to speak Real Madrid with you. Have a beautiful Saturday. Have a good Sunday. And we'll see you tomorrow, for sure.
See you later, guys.